Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker, standing by, sponsored by Passant Motors. Purchase a vehicle at Passant Motors this month, and they pay your GST. Also, did you know you can get a car with zero down payment? Get all the details at Passant Motors, BASANTmotors.com. As we're joined by Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, CBS Sports, and Westwood One. Ross, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
Doing awesome. My pleasure. Always great to talk with you guys, whether it's Monday or Tuesday. Let's do it.
Well, I was going to ask you about Black Friday and the deals you may have got, but some big news from the NFL just came down not that long ago. Frank Reich, 11 games into his 4-year contract with the Carolina Panthers. They're 1-10, fired. Justified?
Not really. I mean, not during the year. I think they were going to fire him after the year because they didn't show any progress. I probably would have given him the last 6 games to see if they could have any progress. Obviously, they're 1-10, and I think it's probably unlikely that they would have progress moving forward. But I think I probably would have given Reich the last 6 games to see if he could start to get more production from Bryce Young, as unlikely as it is. But I don't know. I don't feel that bad for Reich. You know, he took the job knowing, who the owner was there. He appears to be an impetuous owner, both for this and for his soccer club. And, I mean, he's got 3 more years left on his contract. Can somebody please give me a 4-year contract for over $5 million a year and fire me like 6 months into it? I'm ready. I'm ready, Donnie. I'm ready to be fired.
All you have to do, Ross, is get involved in Canadian broadcasting.
That's it.
And your dream will come true. Trust me. Hey, you mentioned Bryce Young, and the word is, and nothing's been confirmed, but that Frank Reich wanted C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young. Whether or not that's true, how far behind, I think we've talked about this before, how far behind C.J. Stroud is Bryce Young?
Really far. And I got to be honest with you, I'm surprised. I didn't see it. There's all kinds of people coming out of the woodwork now. I knew C.J. Stroud was QB1 all along, and, I didn't think Bryce Young, he's just too little. Like, I didn't hear that many people saying that. I don't remember hearing many people saying that they thought the Panthers should take Stroud. Like, almost nobody, right? So remember that. The revisionist history as it unfolds over the coming weeks and months or whatever. I think a lot of people thought Bryce Young was going to be really good and almost more of a sure thing than Stroud because of his ability to make plays kind of off schedule. His innate feel for it has not been good. And certainly I think the Texans have a better O-line than the Panthers, but they've been banged up, and it hasn't been a great situation or perfect situation for Stroud either. He just made the most of it.
Ross, the game of the week, no question, the Eagles and the Bills. A lot of offense for a game that had a lot of rain. But Jalen Hurts, 3 touchdown passes, ran for 2 more. Where is he in your MVP voting?
Well, I think he's probably got to be at the top now after that performance yesterday, especially in the second half. He's just so clutch. That was a tough game for me because it's the team I do some work for now and the team I grew up rooting for. That's the same team, the Eagles, against my favorite team as a player. I certainly have an affinity for my time with the Buffalo Bills. And truth be told, man, the Bills needed that win more than the Eagles. I mean, now the Eagles needed it to keep the breathing room before they play the Niners and the Cowboys the next couple of weeks. But the Bills really needed that just to make the playoffs. They needed that win. They played so well, especially Josh Allen. To lose in the manner in which they did, just brutal. And there's a lot we can get into there with coaching decisions and officiating and whatever. But from the Eagles' perspective or from the Jalen Hurts perspective, it's remarkable. I mean, no Lane Johnson, their most valuable offensive lineman. You come out, they don't have Dallas Goedert, their star tight end. They lose a couple defensive players during the game. it's almost like a culture thing. They just believe that they're going to find a way to win. And the Bills players kind of have a tendency now to lose those type of games.
Ross, not long ago, we were ripping Russell Wilson and the Broncos. They were 1-5. They'd given up 70 points in one game to the Dolphins. They're now 6-5. They beat the Browns. What's been the most impressive thing for you in their winning streak?
Oh, the defense. Yeah, I mean, listen, the winning streak's impressive. Russell's playing at a nice level. He doesn't look like a star, but he's playing at a good level. They're doing the things they need to do on offense to win. But, guys, their defense through the first 5 weeks was historically bad. As in, like, one of the worst defenses we've ever seen. And they've totally turned it around to the point where they're like a top 10 defense now. It's remarkable. You don't see that very often in the NFL. That much of a flip, right? From clearly the worst to top 10 at a specific side of the ball. But that's what they've done, and they deserve a lot of credit. And I'll give Sean Payton a lot of credit for not firing Vance Joseph. I think a lot of people thought he was gonna, or that he should, after the way the season started.
I'm talking with Ross Tucker, and of course, Denver losing 70-20 in Week 3 to Miami. Hey, Ross, you touched on this, and you tweeted this out yesterday. Brutal day for NFL officiating again. What bothers you the most about NFL officiating these days?
That a lot of these are correctable errors, but we're not correcting them. That's the thing that bothers me the most, right? Is that these are things that, and they do it sometimes, like during the Bills-Eagles game, Jalen Hurts is going forward. They hit the ball out. It's clearly an incomplete pass. They call it a fumble initially. And then without even going under the booth for review, the expedited review, they call it, in New York, buzzes in and says, incomplete. And they go incomplete, and we move on with the right call. Isn't that something? Just get the call right and move on. I understand the concerns about the expedited review too much because it's like, when do you use it? When do you not use it? Well, we saw that Bills-Eagles, they used it on the Jalen Hurts play. So why don't they use it more often when they have some of these terrible calls? I mean, I really thought the Bills got the raw end of the deal with the officiating on Sunday, and it's disappointing, really disappointing. Yeah. I don't like that for either team, because even though the Eagles won, and yes, I do some work for them, then all the Bills fans, rather than giving the Eagles credit, they just talk about the officiating. Like, nobody wins. The Bills lose the game, and the Eagles win, but everybody says it's just because of the officiating. So it's a net double negative.
Hey, Ross, you worked on the weekend. Iowa's 13-10 win over Nebraska. The over-under for that game was 24.5. They went under 14 points total, which everybody expected. And you saw the guys in the crowd with the punts, sweatshirts. Was it possible to find that game strangely entertaining?
Oh, I thought it was very entertaining. But I'm also not one of those people that needs points to be entertained. I don't know if there's, and I'd be curious, like, I don't know if there's something in hockey that's similar, but both those teams had really good defenses, And so I thought it was interesting. The Nebraska head coach, Matt Rule, had said to us, why does everybody call it an ugly game when you're playing beautiful defense? Which I thought made a good point. And, even though there wasn't a lot of scoring, that doesn't mean there weren't entertaining things, right? I mean, you had 2 blocked field goals, and at the end of the game, it went ping pong back and forth, interception. Unfortunately, there were some officiating errors and officiating situations. I thought, the clock went for 12 seconds. They forgot to start it for 10 seconds. Like, some things that just shouldn't happen. But it made it very entertaining for me. And I think people watched it on some level almost like a car crash. And I also think, let's not kid ourselves, with the under being that low, and of course I never reference that when I'm calling a game, but the under being that low created a lot of intrigue around it. A lot of people still took the under, or at least had some bet on the total, and they were watching it as a result.
Well, I watched some of the clips. You had a lot of fun with it, so good on you. Hey, Christmas just around the corner. Tell us about my front page story.
Well, you guys know how I feel about it. First of all, it's hard to shop for people for the holidays, right? Yeah. I never really know what to get my wife or my mom or whoever. Go to myfrontpagestory.com. We have writers that you talk to on the phone or you fill out an email. They'll write the most unbelievable story about your wife, your mom, whoever you want to get the story for. It looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper, framed, beautiful pictures of her and you or her and the kids or whatever. And it's just a really cool, unique thing when they read the article and the quotes, like, I never thank her enough for all the little things she does for me. They cry almost every time. It's an emotional gift, a good emotional gift. And then what I love about it is they hang it up in the house. So it's like the gift that keeps on giving. myfrontpagestory.com. Write it down, Rick. There's no transactions right now from the East Coast Hockey League. myfrontpagestory.com.
Ross, thanks for this. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great. See you guys.